Welcome to another episode of Is It Jank?
Is it Jank?
Who knows?
So today on Is It Jank, we are discussing a Game Boy Advance game called Inky and the Alien Aquarium.
This is a homebrew game, right?
Yes, this is a brand new homebrew game, not even out yet. It's scheduled to come out June 2023. There's going to be a Kickstarter about it. We happen to get an early copy of it, so you guys probably want to know, what is this game?
The story is that you are an octopus that has been abducted by aliens and put into an aquarium with 15 of your friends, and you need to get out of the alien aquarium so that you can get back to Earth.
The premise is basically it's a puzzle game, right? It's if you've played like Adventure of the Lolo for the NES, it's kind of like that. Only we never ran into any enemies. We didn't get all, super far in it, but there's a lot of screens there. It seems like it's a non-violent game where you're just solving puzzles.
Each level has a different thing to it that you have to figure out to get through each level. It's obvious that you're going to have comparisons to Lolo, which I'm sure the developers are, probably going to roll their eyes on. It's just, I wouldn't say it's like a direct descendant of Lolo or anything like that. It's just due to the way the gameplay is, in that you have to figure out puzzles to get through each level, and your character's about the same size,
right?
The mechanics kind of the same, that sort of thing. But it does stand on its own octopus tentacles, as it were.
I think that Lolo just set the bar. This takes the Lolo bar, and it's like, we're gonna at least hit this bar, which what else could you want from a puzzler game? And plus, I think being on the Game Boy Advance, this is a game that you're going to want to bring with you on the go.
Game like this would be good for road trips. 3, 4, 5 hours in a car.
So what is the appeal of this game? Like, what makes it different?
Well, I'm wondering how many of these types of games were even made for the Game Boy Advance. Was there ever a Lolo?
I don't think Lolo got a game on the Game Boy Advance. I can't think of anything that's similar offhand. I'm sure there is, but I just can't think of anything.
Yeah. So I think that, plus the fact that it's a homebrew for the Game Boy Advance. How many of those exist?
They're fewer and far between compared to many of the systems.
Not sure it'd be my type of game or not, but it looks, it looks pretty fun. And like, if you're on a road trip, like, he was saying, I think it would be really fun.
So the game mechanics here, it's pretty much what you'd expect. There's some things that are kind of tricky, like certain bottles can only be pushed certain ways. There's rules like you can't roll things over grates, and then there's switches you have to deal with. You're basically just an octopus, and your only power is to push things.
Yeah, it'd have been interesting if you could have got like an ink, like a ink weapon or something.
That'd be awesome.
But it's possible that we just didn't get far enough into it, and there are other mechanics in here that you don't know about until you stumble across them.
And it did look like there was a lot more power-ups and stuff that we were going to be able to get. We barely scratched the surface of this game.
We only got through a couple levels of the aquarium, we're...
Yeah, we played maybe a little over an hour of the game.
Right.
Just to get the idea of it, understand it. So how much is this game? I think that the Kickstarter is going to have it for
$12. $60.
But I don't know for sure. They sent us an advanced version of it, and it's complete in box. Got the cartridge in there.
Nice.
Complete instructions that are full color.
That's awesome.
So
Yes.
yeah, so you guys can.
Let me see those instructions.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's something in here that has mechanics that we just didn't know about.
Oh.
We didn't have the instructions at the time.
That's
No.
true.
Keeps exploring the ship. You're bound to find things to help you.
Yeah, and I was told by the developers that this is kind of obtuse on purpose because the idea is exploration and you're trying to figure things out, and the whole thing is trying to get you to think. So what about the graphics here? I think that they're good for Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I think the graphics here are pretty solid.
Inky looks like he could belong to the ghosts on Pac-Man with Inky and blinking
Yeah, it does.
Clyde.
Yes.
I wonder if there was any kind of influence there.
Like the ghost went on strike or something. It's like, I'm done getting chomped. I'm done with these power pellets. I'm done. You keep your cherries, you keep your bananas. 5,000 points anyway. No, I don't, I think the graphics are good. I'm looking at the main character, and I get that he's a octopus. At first, I wasn't quite getting the aquarium.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm guessing it's an alien aquarium, so that's why we can't quite tell.
Yes. I know of the Game Boy Advance games we've played on the channel. I think this stacks up right with them as far as graphics go.
Yeah, and I don't think this is a game that you need super awesome graphics. You just need to know that what each thing is and what you need to do with it.
Right. The mechanics need to work. You know, the playability needs to work.
It controls fine. It's just you pushing blocks, so there's not that much to worry about.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying with this good road trip game. It's, you know, if you're jostling around in a back seat or something, and you're not going to get penalized because of the play control, you know, you're still going to be able to enjoy the game, play the game as it's supposed to be played.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you can take your time on. If you can't figure it out, you can just sit there and look at the screen for a while and figure out what you need to do. So is it fun?
I would say so.
Yeah, I had a good time checking it out on our live stream.
It's easy to get sucked in to it, I think. Like, once you start playing, you're like, how do you do this? And that's all you're thinking about is how do you get past this puzzle? And like, I remember you playing it, and you were like, okay, one more. And then you'd get through it, and then you'd be like, okay, one more puzzle.
Yep. Yes, it gets addictive. It gets addictive. Yep. I would say as far as the fun goes, I would have liked to have known or getting some hints about how some things might work. You know, it doesn't have to be like billboard knocking you in the face saying, hey, move this, or this block does this, or this does this. But I think it would just add to the fun. Because then you have it in your head, oh, well, this could do this, and that could do that if I did that. And now knowing this, well, maybe that could do this. I mean, I know the idea is that, you know, you figure it out on your own, that sort of thing.
Unless their idea is like, well, Inky's on an alien ship, knows nothing, so therefore you know nothing.
Well, that's true. I mean, as somebody that's been probed a few times on an alien ship, and you know, coming back to Earth and not having a clue, I mean, I understand how that goes, I suppose.
So basically, you gotta figure things out yourself,
as you would on an alien ship, I suppose.
One thing we didn't even talk about is the music. I do remember a couple tracks kind of rocking, and people in the live stream were also, I don't know if complimenting is the right word, but they were commenting on the music.
If I remember right, yeah, a couple of those tracks were like, whoa, you know, we were just playing and chatting and listening and looking at the comments and stuff, and then every so often the music would grab our attention, being like, whoa, what's going on there? That's pretty cool. And that's great. I like when music does that in a game.
Yeah.
And that kind of tells you that, yes, they did put some time and thought into the music. And
yeah, effort was, you know,
definitely there.
Effortized.
Yes.
All right, so the question of the day, Inky in the Alien Aquarium, is it jank?
No.
Well, you gave it away right away. You just gave it up.
That was pretty quick. I mean, Evil Dan's our judge here, folks.
You guys sold me. You guys sold me, man. It was, you know. No,
I don't think it's jank at all. I think this is a quality homebrew. Mm-hmm. You know, as a channel that's played more than our share of homebrews, we've played quite a few of them. I think this is a very solid effort.
It is.
Very few of these homebrews for the Game Boy Advance, so it's great to see that. A lot of effort went into this, you could tell. A lot of love, a lot of sweat equity. And I think it's just an all-around great effort.
A lot of originality, I think.
And to add to your point, I don't think it's jank either. I think it's not a jank game. To add to your point of, we've played a lot of homebrew games on this channel. We played, I think, 7 or 8 other homebrew Game Boy Advance games the same night we played this one. And I thought this was by far the best. So there's been advances in the homebrew scene in Game Boy Advance. Inky in the Alien Aquarium, I think, is not jank.
Nope. Unanimously not jank.
All right, that does it for this episode of Is It Jank? Let us know if there's any other jank or not jank games you want us to find the answer to Is It Jank for.
Boy, that sentence was jank, I'll tell you that much. Goodness sakes. You got a game you want us to know about the jankiness of? We'll play the jank and jank the play of the game and see if janky is the jank of what it janks.
I knew you were going to get there.
You kind of sound like Bill Cosby. We'll get the jank for you. You know, like, oh.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap.
All right. That's all we got.